Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. I recently became a brand ambassador for these guys, and let me tell you something. I am glad I did because they are the real deal. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes all the confusion out of buying tickets. They have a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. Your next best night ever is waiting, and SeatGeek has you covered. And that's not all. My listeners can get $20 off their first purchase when they use my code BLUESEATS. That's $20 off your first ticket order with code BLUESEATS. And with these ticket prices that I'm seeing lately, Ranger fans, I would jump on this now. So download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com and use my code BLUESEATS for $20 off your first ticket order. SeatGeek, the official ticket app of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Let there be live. What is going on, Rangers fans? My name is Jimmy Fanizzi, and this is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. I hope you're doing fantastic so far. As you can see, if you are watching on the YouTube side, we now officially have our first ever video episode up. That is right. We are now on YouTube and on all audio platforms as well. So make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a single episode. And please be sure you subscribe on all audio platforms as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, it is there. Subscribe to us everywhere and leave a comment on YouTube with your thoughts on the topic at hand. And for those listening on the audio side, be sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94. But do that anyway, regardless of where you're watching or listening. And use the hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us on the topics at hand as well. This is super, super exciting to finally launch this YouTube channel. I've been waiting months on end for this, and we are finally here. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. As I said, for those who are new to YouTube, my name is Jimmy. I've been a Rangers fan my whole life, and I am really stoked to be in my first season here on the Hockey Podcast Network covering my favorite team, the New York Rangers. It truly is a dream come true for me, and I just want to thank everybody for all of their endless love and support to help me get to this point. I truly appreciate every single one of you. So, with that being said, we are going to recap the Rangers' recent road trip in Western Canada, but before we do, unfortunately, we have to start on a bit of a somber note as we unfortunately learned this past week about the unfortunate passing of former Pittsburgh Penguin player Adam Johnson. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 29 after an on-ice collision resulting in a cut to the neck by a skate blade. I have the details over here. Here we go. This is from Wikipedia, but this is actually accurate because I did more research on what actually did happen. So for those that are unaware, on October 28th, 2023, Adam Johnson was fatally injured in a game against the Sheffield Steelers at Utilita Arena, when his neck was cut by the skate of Steelers player Matt Petgrave during an on-ice collision. After the impact, Johnson attempted to skate to the team bench while bleeding out before collapsing on the ice. Players on both sides locked arms to form a protective ring around Johnson while medical professionals tended to him before screens were put up and the arena evacuated. Johnson was eventually transferred to Sheffield's Northern General Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. He was 29 years old. News of Johnson's death was publicly withheld until the following morning when while Johnson's relatives were alerted. In response to Johnson's death, the EIHL, or the English Ice Hockey League suspended all games scheduled for October 29th, and numerous leagues and teams worldwide, alongside various politicians from Nottingham, issued statements mourning Johnson's death and held various pregame ceremonies in his honor. A fan fundraising campaign was launched raising money to support Johnson's family, surpassing its initial goal of £5,000 within a few hours, later being raised to £10,000 before being surpassed that same day. Following Johnson's death, hundreds of fans assembled outside Nottingham Arena, home rink of the Panthers, alongside Panthers players and personnel to lay flowers and other tributes in a makeshift memorial for the player. After Johnson's death, the English Ice Hockey Association, EIHA, which governs the sport in the country at all levels in England and Wales, introduced a neck guard mandate beginning in 2024. Now, this is something you really hate to hear about. And when I first heard about this, I initially had to get a refresher on who Adam Johnson was. And then I saw him in the Pittsburgh Penguins uniform and I said, oh, wait a minute, he was that young kid? And then I said to myself, damn, man, that's rough. That's definitely a rough one that nobody really wants to hear. I mean, it just shows you that hockey, yes, it can be fun, but it is also very, very dangerous because you just never, ever know what can happen. And when it comes to stuff like this, you have to be very, very mindful. And I'm very happy that the Hockey League over in England is implementing the neck guard mandate next season. Maybe this is something that the NHL should look at as well. You know, with all these players, you know, you don't want to risk anybody else dying like that. So maybe the NHL Players Association and the NHL in general should look at a neck guard mandate for all players beginning in the 2024-2025 season. But, you know, we shall see if they actually have a meeting about that. But I personally think they should do it. I'm glad England is doing that. But, you know, Adam Johnson, man, this is a young kid who had a lot of potential in the league. He was a good young player who had a lot of heart, a lot of soul, a lot of courage as well. He was not afraid to stand up for his teammates. I loved watching him play, even though he was a Pittsburgh Penguin. But even still, that's beside the point. He still had a long career ahead of him. 29 years old is way too young, man. Way too young to go. And I feel so sorry for his family, his friends, and all of his teammates, especially on the Pittsburgh Penguins and on the Panthers team in England. I feel so, so sorry. I send my deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and all of his teammates who knew him very, very much. Adam Johnson, way, way too young, man. Rest in peace. You will be missed. Now, I don't even know what else to say. I mean, this just hurts. It really, really hurts. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I might need a minute to collect my thoughts here before we move on to talk about the Rangers road trip because 29 years old. Damn, man. Damn. Yeah, I'm going to need a couple of minutes. So here's a word from our sponsors. And then when we come back, we will discuss the Rangers road trip. We'll be right back. The NFL season is still going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings is not stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every single game day this October. I'm looking at the slate for week 9 right now, and of course I'm looking at Cowboys-Eagles +3 for the Cowboys. Give me that all day, every day. But that's just me. What you want to bet on is up to you. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when they bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org.
Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boo Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles in LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources.
The holiday season. It's a great time of year, but let's face it, it can also be one of the most chaotic times of the year. Think about it, all that shopping and decorating, visiting people you don't like. Okay, look, all jokes aside, it may be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping a total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season right now before Black Friday. You can shop for Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off because their early Black Friday sale is going on now. You've heard me talk about Raycons before. I mentioned how I like to use them to make my own summer soundtrack with my everyday earbuds. And trust me, if I were you, I would get my hands on these bad boys. A 32-hour battery life and a perfect in-ear fit so they never ever fall out of your ears, even when you're getting a good workout in. These earbuds are worth it. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site, with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds and save now. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. That's buyraycon.com/THPN. Raycon, power up your everyday. All right, we are back. I have fully collected myself after that. I apologize, but now we are ready to move on to more positive things as the New York Rangers recently finished up a Western Canada road trip, which included 5 games, which, by the way, is going to be their longest road trip that they ever have this season. So thank God for that. But anyway, the Rangers went into Western Canada to take on the Seattle Kraken, the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Winnipeg Jets. They went a perfect 5 for 5. They won all 5 games. Now, for those that were not paying attention on social media, primarily on Twitter, again, follow us on all social media at BlueSeats94. I predicted that the New York Rangers would go 3-2 on that road trip. I said that they would lose to Seattle and Edmonton and that they would beat Calgary, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. I didn't think they were going to win all 5 games. Listen, I didn't expect the Seattle Kraken to get off to the slow start that they have been. I'm shocked with how slow they're starting out this season. That's something you don't want to see. I know it's only the 3rd year in the league, but even still, that's something you don't want to see. But anyway, so they beat Seattle 4-1 the first night. Jonathan Quick, I was questioning when we were going to see him play. He gets his first game as a New York Ranger. He wins, gets his first win as a Ranger. Good for him. He looked absolutely fantastic. He looked like the Jonathan Quick of old at some points in the game. But good for Jonathan Quick. The Rangers just came firing out on all cylinders in that one. Of course, you have Artemi Panarin, who is absolutely on fire to start the year. He scored his 3rd. Lafreniere scored his 2nd. Kaapo Kakko scored his 1st. And then Artemi Panarin scored again. So the first one, he scored his 2nd of the year. The second one, he scored his 3rd of the year. So Artemi Panarin had 2 goals in that game. And the only goal for the Seattle Kraken was by Schultz. So Rangers win that first game 4-1. You got to love what you see from this team so far. They are clicking on all cylinders, especially it all started in that Seattle game where I thought, Seattle, I remember Seattle I picked to go to the Stanley Cup final this season. And obviously that's not looking good right now, even though we're still very early into the season. Anything can happen, but Seattle not looking good right now, but we shall see what happens there. Their goaltending is still very suspect in my opinion. But the Rangers definitely took advantage of a so far bad Seattle Kraken team, and they were able to win the game outright, which is good. And then you go to the game against the Calgary Flames. And me personally, I thought they had a great chance to win that game, and I said they would win that game, and they did. They won 3-1. Calgary did strike first. Blake Coleman with his second of the year at the time. Lafreniere got his third. Kreider got his fifth. And Eric Gustafsson got his second of the year. And Shesterkin played that game. And he looked like his usual self. But what else is new there? But anyway, Rangers won that game 3-1, by the way. I'm sorry, Kyle, if you're watching this, but I digress. And then you have the Edmonton Oilers, who, by the way, if I had known that Connor McDavid was not going to play, I would have said the Rangers would have been manslaughtered. But Connor McDavid did not play, and the Rangers ended up shutting out the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 3-0. Adam Fox got his second at the time. Braden Schneider got on the score sheet with his first of the season, and Alexis Lafreniere got his fourth of the season at the time. A shutout of the Edmonton Oilers. And by the way, Jonathan Quick got that shutout. So congratulations to Jonathan Quick on his first shutout as a New York Ranger. He tends to do very well against the Edmonton Oilers in general, hence why they started him. Now I understand why they did. So good for Jonathan Quick and good for the Rangers for shutting out a Connor McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers. At the time, Connor McDavid did come back in the Heritage Classic, by the way, and the Oilers did win that game, by the way, 5-2. Again, I'm sorry, Kyle. But anyway, then you have the Vancouver Canucks. Again, I apologize to Dylan Kaiser in advance, but this one was a bit rocky at first because, first of all, Artemi Panarin got the Rangers on the board first, his fourth of the year at the time. Then JT Miller tied the game. And then Myers gave Vancouver a 2-1 lead. Adam Fox tied the game with his third of the year at the time. Mika Zibanejad finally got his first of the season at the time after an 8-game scoreless streak. Zibanejad finally got on the scoreboard. He made it 3-2 Rangers. Soucy tied the game at 3 very late in the third period, which forced overtime, the first overtime game of the season for the Rangers. But then Keandre Miller was able to seal the deal with his first of the year, and the Rangers ended up winning in overtime by a score of 4-3. By the way, the Vancouver Canucks are probably one of the most surprising teams in the NHL this season. Last I checked, where are they in the division standings? Vancouver is second in the division behind Vegas. Vegas is 9-0-1, by the way. What a hell of a start for the Vegas Golden Knights, defending Stanley Cup champion. I would have expected a full-on Stanley Cup hangover, but God, has Vegas proven me wrong. Hell of a start for them. But Vancouver, I got to give them a ton of credit. As much as I like to make fun or have fun with Vancouver fans, I got to give them credit where credit's due. They're off to a 5-2-1 start. I mean, they're actually surprisingly very, very good. Being able to win that game despite some questionable penalties. You did give up a shorthanded goal in that one, which is something you don't want to do. But you still ended up winning the game 4-3 in overtime. And the Rangers would then go on to play the Winnipeg Jets. And they also went to overtime on that one. And by the way, Artemi Panarin got his fifth of the year and has points in 9 games. All 9 games, Artemi Panarin has gotten at least 1 point. Artemi Panarin has been on fire to start the year. You got to give him a lot of credit where it's due. Look, my main argument with Artemi Panarin is this. What has he done in the playoffs recently? He hasn't done anything. In the regular season, though, whole different animal. He produces huge numbers in the regular season. There is no question about that. I am not denying his talent whatsoever. But come playoff time, that's when he disappears. But this is the regular season we're talking about. Panarin's on fire. Got to give him credit. David Gustafsson of Winnipeg then ties the game with his second of the year. Nikolai Ehlers gives Winnipeg a 2-1 lead with his second. Chris Kreider doing what he does best, deflecting pucks, gets his sixth of the year. Rangers tied at 2. And then we go to overtime. where Mika Zibanejad gets his second of the year, and the Rangers win in overtime 3-2, and they sweep a 5-game Western Canada road trip. And me personally, I, for one, am very surprised. I was not expecting an entire sweep of Western Canada. And you know what really impressed me the most? Forget the fact that they actually were shooting the puck more. Forget the fact that they actually played defense. Forget the fact that the goaltending was absolutely stellar the entire series. You want to know what really impressed me the most? Special teams, especially the power play, which has been one of the big knocks on the Rangers for a while. Their power play showed up. I have never seen the power play look that good in like 5 years. That's how good they look. They were getting shots from left to right. They scored multiple power play goals in multiple games. And their penalty killing, which has been one of their strengths for the past few years or so, is still one of their biggest strengths. The penalty killing went off. Again, goaltending was absolutely excellent. There was a lot of things to love about that road trip. However, if there was one thing that would be fixed, the penalties. Giving up a shorthanded goal against the Vancouver Canucks when you're down 2 men, that's inexcusable. I'm sorry. You cannot allow that to happen. The penalties need to be cleaned up. Now, you can argue that the penalty against Ryan Lindgren toward the end of the third period against the Winnipeg Jets, I think they called the interference or tripping against him, which was absolute bogus. There was no contact on the guy whatsoever. I don't know how you call that on Ryan Lindgren. That was absolute trash. But again, the Rangers were able to overcome adversity and they were able to win all 5 games, which was amazing. I didn't think that would happen at all. So props to the Rangers for doing what they did. But again, a lot of positives to like. But if I were to change one thing, stay out of the penalty box. Stop taking bold-headed penalties, even if they are questionable. Penalties are penalties. You're going to get affected by them one way or the other. Now, granted, you did score a couple of shorthanded goals, so I will give you that. But even still, you cannot be giving up goals when you're down 2 men. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. I'm sorry. You just can't do that. So, again, give credit to the Rangers. They did their job. Now they go back home to face the Carolina Hurricanes this upcoming Thursday, actually, November 2nd, at the time this episode is being released. And then they go back on the road to play the Minnesota Wild. So they're home for 1 game, and then they go right back on the road. And by the way, that Rangers-Hurricanes game is at 7 p.m. Eastern time on November 2nd. And the Rangers-Wild game that's on Saturday, November 4th, is at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then after that, November 7th, they're home against the Detroit Red Wings. November 9th, they're home against the Minnesota Wild. And then November 12th, they conclude the homestand against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And oh, by the way, major announcement, I am going to be at that game. So if you're a Ranger fan out there and you are going to that game, I will be in section 112, row 14. If you want to stop me and say hello, we'll take a picture together and hopefully watch a Rangers win. But again, major news, I will be at the Rangers Blue Jackets game Sunday, November 12th at Madison Square Garden, section 112, row 14. That game is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you're going to the game, stop by section 112, row 14 and say hello to me. It'll be my first trip to the Garden this season, and I can't wait to hopefully meet some awesome Ranger fans out there. If you do not have tickets yet, might I suggest SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com and use my code BLUESEATS. That's all one word, by the way. Use code BLUESEATS to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. If you want to go to that game, you're welcome. I saved you some money. But anyway, again, Rangers Blue Jackets, Sunday, November 12th. I will be there. So mark it down on your calendars. But then after that, they get a bye week. And then they come back on November 18th to play the New Jersey Devils. So the Rangers got a couple of tough games coming up. So this is not going to be an easy couple of weeks here. So the Rangers have to try and build on this 5-0 road trip, and they have to find a way to keep building on the positives, not giving up goals on 5-on-3 if and when that happens again. And they just can't take stupid penalties. They got to stay out of the penalty box. Period. End of sentence. But other than that, I love what the Rangers did on this road trip. Excellent job by everybody. And by the way, everybody seems to be responding very, very well to Peter Laviolette's system. They seem to absolutely love him. I love the way that he's coaching. He's holding guys accountable. This is something that the Rangers have been missing from coaches lately. So I love his aggressive style. Good for Peter Laviolette. I truly, truly hope that he is the answer for the Rangers long term. But bottom line is, Rangers, excellent road trip. Not one that I was expecting, but 2 thumbs up on a 5-0 Western Canada road trip. All right, Rangers fans, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep on seeing or hearing more, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and hit that bell so you stay notified of every single episode. If you're listening on audio, subscribe on all audio platforms and rate us 5 stars. It would mean the absolute world to us. And please be sure that you follow us on all social media, Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats to keep the conversation going. What did you like about the Rangers 5-0 road trip, and what didn't you like about the road trip? And what do you think about the remaining couple of weeks here before the Rangers bye week, quote unquote? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Again, use hashtag BlueSeats on social media to interact with us, or leave a comment below on YouTube to leave your thoughts as well. Again, one final time, SeatGeek, we are sponsored by them. Use the code BlueSeats at checkout for $20 off of your first purchase. Thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring us as well on the Hockey Podcast Network. And thank you to Raycon as well. You guys are awesome. And again, one last time, Rangers, Blue Jackets, Sunday, November 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be there, Section 112, Row 14. Come and say hello to your boy and hopefully watch a Rangers win. Until the next episode, I'm Jimmy Fanizzi. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!